Welcome to Celebrating Women of Substance. Thank you for joining us. My name is Cheryl Rankin, and I've had the privilege of chatting to a very inspirational lady. Her name is Mokete Moetela. She speaks of the trauma of losing a child and how she managed to overcome that and become who she is today. I'd love you to take a listen.
So I grew up in the rural areas, no tar road, no adequate access to water and stuff like that. And I knew that I deserved life that is much better than what I was seeing in front of me. I liked convenience. At that time, somebody would tell me that, why do you want to go to school? The girls are staying behind to assist their mothers because they're going to be married one day. So what's the use of taking them to school? They're not going to reinvest at home.
Yes.
And I'll be like, but still, man, this doesn't feel comfortable for me. And I knew that I did not just want to amount to nothing. We were encouraged that you cannot now have ambitions and goals. You must just help your mother and then get married, to have kids, take care of your husband. That's it.
Yes.
So and I always dreamed of something better. I said, God, there must be something better. Okay, so to cut the long story short, I ended up going to school. I graduated, or even my matric results were great. I had distinctions there and there, and I was so happy that I did that for myself. I proved that actually I can do much more. God has given me much more capabilities. And then I remember years later, I had a child, a little baby boy, and due to some complications, the baby boy died.
Oh, that's
and
terrible.
and yeah, so as I was going through that, I really felt like I knew that God is there. I'd never doubted his existence. But I felt like there's a dark cloud hanging around me as I walk around. I feel like people can feel that I just lost a son. They can see through me that I'm in pain, and I did not like that. But at the
Yes,
same
yes.
time, I knew that I wanted to be better. And I said I need to find help. To help me figure out how to live without my son. The worst thing about losing a child or burying your own child was that I had never buried a sibling. I had never buried my parents. That was a little bit far from me, and it happened to me. And I figured people close to me did not even know what to tell me. And again, those who saw me pregnant, my friends, when they ask where's the child, what am I going to say? The most painful thing is I even missed my sister's wedding at home. It took place at home. I missed it because I was in hospital. The baby was having complications. And I always hated that thought, because I was like, if people ask me, why were you not at your sister's wedding? I'm going to say I was in hospital because of the baby, but where's the baby? I don't have evidence or proof in front of me.
Yes, yes.
It was very difficult to move beyond that point to say, how do I live? How do I explain myself after bearing a child? They saw me pregnant. Now there's no baby. The little children, all the time,
Yeah.
where's the baby? And having to explain that as a mourning mother, it's the most difficult thing ever. But I went for counseling, I remember, and they gave me tips on how to survive. That's why I love getting help with counseling, see a psychologist, because they just give you tools on how to manage life without the person who is left. And that helps you to even talk to other people to say, because if I'm still holding on to that memory, I'm not moving on, I'm angry at God, I'm like, what do I say to people when they ask? You never get to move on. And one thing I like about talking and attending these healing sessions is that it helps you to figure out how can you honor the memory of the person who has passed on. So yeah, that's some things that happened to me. I don't know how deep you want me to go, but there's a lot more
Yeah, I'm
been
sure.
through a divorce. But all my life, with all these challenges, going through a divorce and that, I always knew that God somehow can turn all this mess into a message. You know, I knew that this pain, I should use it somehow. I'm not one who likes to stay in unfavorable conditions for too long. My tolerance level are not that great when it comes something that steals peace away from me, that steals joy away from me. Number three, something that makes it difficult for me to serve God or to live my purpose. I can't. I don't like to compromise that part of my life because the thing is now when you compromise that you become very bitter. You things don't align in your life. Why? Because you're just missing one thing just to live your purpose here on earth. You know. So yeah.
So it sounds like you've been through, a really, really difficult experience, because losing a child, I mean, look, I'm a mom myself, and I couldn't imagine losing one of my children, So I think that in itself is a very, very difficult experience to overcome. And you mentioned something that was quite critical to me, is the counseling, which I do believe in. But there's so many people out there that don't have access to it. And I think that was part of me starting this channel, is to give people hope that just because they haven't got money to go to a counselor, they haven't got access to a counselor, that there are other people out there that can give them as much support as what a counselor could in those conditions.
And it's platforms that give us hope, really. They're very, very helpful. This is very important, and I'm happy that you started this, and I'm happy that I was the first one to comment. So I'm part of history.
Yes, absolutely.
So it's very important, and I like the fact that it's on social media. It's accessible.
Yes.
To everyone worldwide. That's what I appreciate. And if I am to give tips on how really to deal with this, if you cannot access counseling, okay, so first of all, we have professional counseling. You pay for that. If you don't have money, it means you cannot access it. And then we have counseling that is offered by public workers in hospitals and clinics, and at schools as well. I'm not going to overrule that. And you also have then the pastors and elder people in communities who normally are there for people, And then now we have this platform that you have here.
I think that this whole pandemic has opened up the social media far greater than what it ever was before. I believe that this platform is going to become a very strong platform. Social media is going to become strong. And I think that we need to start leveraging that, because I think it is a very important tool to offer assistance to people that really need it. And also, you mentioned pastors and churches as well, which, I completely believe in, because I have my faith, and I know that without that, I wouldn't be able to, I wouldn't have survived, And I think that during the pandemic, when they closed all the churches, it was very difficult for people to go through and get that type of counseling, because it just wasn't accessible. They couldn't get it. And I think that this pandemic has opened up a whole new view of the world. And I think that we need to embrace that and work within the parameters to be able to offer assistance wherever we can, And I think that the churches is a big part of that. It's a big part of the platform. I mean, you can access church on social media now, which is something you couldn't do before, So to me, there are so many different opportunities that we've got in order to be able to give people support.
Yes. No, that's true. On social media, let me just give out a few pointers regarding that, because I've mentioned ways where you can access people to get help. And now that we're here, I would say that if a person is going through challenges in life, situations like grief, finding themselves going through divorces and suicidal thoughts and depression. Those ones are very big problems now. I'm not even sure if what I'm going to say is going to be relevant. But first of all, knowing that you are in trouble and that you need help is the first thing. But the minute you realize that, nope, this is not it, there's something wrong with me, then it's time to get help. And trust me, you will get it. The minute you know and you are aware, you will get it. As long as the intention is there that I really need help, because I remember when I had the depression in 2016 years, and I knew something was wrong with me. I just couldn't explain what it is. And I would go to the doctor, they'll give me pills or antidepressants. I'll take them for a week and I'm like, I'm not improving. I'm still in trouble. And I feel like I'm going under instead of improving. And I didn't go to to a different doctor. I went to the same doctor. I said, do something. There's something wrong with me. Help me find a way. You will ask the relevant questions and prescribe something else. And I'll go back and things were getting worse and worse and worse. I was just losing myself. I remember before I get to that, he ended up saying, you know what? Okay, he did some diagnosis to say your GAF score is very low. You're really then struggling to function as part of the society as a normal person. Because really, I was even starting to hear sounds and seeing things. I remember then he said, go back home, go pack your stuff, do something with the kids, find someone to take care of them. You have to go away. You cannot function. You cannot go on like this. Otherwise, something bad's going to happen to you or you might hurt yourself. And then I remember that that evening when I got to the hospital for admission, when they were asking my name, I always get the flashbacks that I did not even understand the question. What's your name? What's your name? We need to fill in the form so that you can be admitted. I was just like zoning out, and the people I was with were thinking like, no man, stop doing this. You know what your name is. They didn't understand. So you're surrounded by people who are not even understanding what you're going through. And maybe it's because they've never been through that, let alone being educated about the condition. They've never been through that. So how do they help you? What do you do? But I'm really grateful to God that things will always align. As long as you have that intention, things will work out at the end. And I kept on seeking help, and I eventually got it. And number one, if you are still in a state where you can write and you still recognize that I'm in an unfavorable condition, I need to do something about this, you need to talk to yourself. You need to find yourself. No one is going to come and find you and take you out of the situation if you haven't found yourself first. All right. No one is going to come and rescue you. Trust me, if you're in an abusive relationship, for instance, even if your mom comes to collect your dad, people still go back. They haven't found themselves. They are identifying themselves according to that environment. All right. They haven't found themselves. Yes. So if you remove them and take them to a peaceful place, they still don't identify themselves with that. They're not familiar with it. They go back to the abusive environment. That's why you can tell a woman, they're going to kill you, he's doing that, leave him. That's not the situation. Find yourself first, center yourself. All right, find yourself. Who am I? And if the first way is to have the conversations with yourself or even write it down, right? The first thing you write, number one, who am I? All right. And then answer that question. Try to answer the question. You're going to struggle. In most cases, you will struggle because you really don't know who you are. And then you try to say, let's say maybe you're a working woman. You're going to say, I am Mokete, I am a nurse. I am a mother. Yeah, fine. Those are the things that we can attribute them to who you are, but who are you really as a person? And if you are trying to do that, you're struggling, continue, leave it. Tomorrow, go back to the assignment. Try to figure out, who am I? Apart from me being a wife or a mother or a sister or a nurse or a teacher, or maybe let's say you're not working. Apart from me being an unemployed person, who am I? Find that definition of who you are. Then you will be able to go wherever. You will know the environment that don't suit you. Then you will take yourself out of them and then you'll go look for better places, or you'll be in better situations. Know who you are and what triggers me. Okay, what are the things, the environment that I'm in? Why am I here? You know, and you don't ask only if the place serves you any good. Are you also serving it anyhow? You know, if I'm here, I'm learning a lot from you, Cheryl, and I hope you're learning from me. You know, if I'm yes, you know, if I'm just a burden that I'm sucking from you and you're not sucking from me, you know, then yeah, that situation is not really ideal. You know, find who you are. And once you know who you are, then you must find, and then once you find who you are, check where you come from.
Yeah.
No matter how dark or dirty or messy it looks, then get something out of it to say, I've survived 1, 2, 3, 4. I come from 1, 2, 3, 4. And then once you make sense of your past, try now to determine the future, how you want the future to look like. You do not want the future to look like the present and your past. All right. So how do I want it to look like? And how do I get there? You know, if I abusive parents, or my parents were always fighting, what do I want in the future? Is that what I want? Is that what I'm exposing my children to? If I have lost a son, all right, okay. So I'm acknowledging that experience. This is my past. It's in the past. I'm acknowledging that experience. How do I use it? Am I gonna continue to live in fear, to judge myself? Even the people who are not judging me, I'm just judging myself. I'm always defensive. No, what do I do with this situation? All right, then I determine my future. This is what I want. From now on, I'm gonna live a better life. I'm gonna actually use my experience to uplift someone, to motivate them. One of the ways to heal is to also teach about your experiences. You'll actually heal when you talk about it, when you share your story, you know, and people would even join support groups and stuff like that, you know. So those are some of the things that we can do. You can exercise, always get a physical activity to do.
Yeah.
Always have something to do, even if it means you take a walk around the yard or the complex or on your street, or you skip. Each day you're skipping, you use a skipping rope, but always find some physical activity to do. Then that will go down to now you doing, as you grow and mature in the process, you will end up doing activities that actually suit you spiritually as well, and emotionally improve you, because you will be in a process of finding who you are. And after finding who you are, you know what suits you, what works on you. If I do yoga, it improves my moods more than skipping. I know that I'm not a gym person. If I go to gym, I just come back more depressed. But if I jog on the road, I will fly throughout
You
the day.
happy.
All right.
Yeah.
Yes. So as time goes on, you will find what works for you. And once you know yourself, you won't succumb to the pressure of, just because it's January, everybody's gymming, you're also succumbing to that pressure. No, you will know what works for you. You will know what you want in life. You have designed your future. All right. Designing your future means some things might go that way, something don't go that way, but it's okay. We're just gonna try to live a positive life. You get my point? So physical activities, journaling more and more, because you don't just stop after you found yourself. You continue to journal and journal. This is what happened today. This is what I learned today, and stuff like that. You know. So yeah, those are some of the things.
I think that what really helped me when I went through a very depressive stage as well, when I lost my business, I had to close my business, was actually putting a to-do list together, so every
Okay.
day you've got something to do, and you put a time frame for everything. So you get up in the morning, and it seems very silly, but when you're in that space, you need that structure, and it's very important to get that
Yeah.
structure. And as you start doing it every day, it starts becoming a habit. So the exercise, absolutely 100%. Doing a lot of reading. So instead of just sitting and watching TV all day, read a book. If you don't enjoy
Yes.
reading, rather listen to an audiobook, but
Yes.
get and not storybooks. I'm talking about self-motivation books that'll help you in the
Yes.
end. And I think that, the more I started doing that, the easier it became for me to actually start seeing that there was a blue sky, because I never saw a blue sky for a long time.
Wow.
And it's
Yes.
important that you start doing that. And I think that the more I started doing it, I started realizing that it's that finding yourself. And in
Yeah.
finding yourself, you find that inner strength you didn't really know you had. And when your back is against the wall, you come out fighting, and you
Yes.
don't know that until your back is
That's
against
true.
the wall. And I think it's very, very important that we keep that, and having people around us that support, and if you're
Yeah.
going to be surrounded by people that are in a depressive state themselves, they're not going to build you up. They're going to keep bringing you down. You need to
Yeah.
surround yourself with people, that are in the same space as you are, and aspire to be better. Every day,
Yeah.
wake up and go, what am
Yeah.
I going to do different today? What extra am I going to add to my routine today? And that's kind of, how I eventually landed up starting this channel. It's been something I've been brewing on and thinking about. And eventually my kid said to me, Mom, just do it, and I thought to
Yes.
myself,
Just
well,
do it.
okay, well, let me just do it.
Yeah.
And I think that,
Yes.
and the more I've started interacting with people, the more I start seeing
Mm.
how many
Mm.
women are out there that are really battling. They really, really are
Yeah.
battling. And, we're all in different seasons in our lives, and we're all on
Mm.
different journeys. But I mean,
Mm.
so from the day we're born to the day we die, that space in
Mm.
between, we need to make the most of it. And one little blimp in your experience is there to grow you. It's not there to break you down.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
So it's just all
Mm.
about keeping looking ahead and looking for the blue sky.
Yes.
You know, was there a quote or a particular phrase or a particular person that inspired you, that you thought about every day, that you kind of, it was like your little mantra that you used to say to yourself every day?
I think at the moment, it's, I think you were the differ, hey?
Yes, I'm
Phases in
sure.
my life when I was in trouble, really. There was this phrase, actually, I got it from my father. He said, "You sometimes you need to go back to your past in order to understand your future." That's why when someone is troubled, I always say, you know what, go and understand the past, what you went through, so that you don't repeat your cycles. Go and
Yes.
acknowledge that. You don't have to go and live it. You don't have to meet those people. You
Yeah.
just sit down on your desk and understand that, and just look at it, and then so that you understand your future, where you are going, where you want to go, so that you're not on autopilot. So that's still my favorite one from my
Those
father,
are
that
very wise words. Very
means that
wise words.
sometimes you have, and otherwise some things just become repetitive cycles in your life. You always
Yes.
find yourself in the same situations all the time.
Yeah.
If it's a abusive relationship, you move from one to the other. It's
Yeah.
just a different phase, but it's
Yeah.
still the same situation. Healthy eating, or maybe when you lose weight and then you go back to
Yeah.
gain more weight, what are you doing wrong? Go back and then try to understand where you are
Understand it.
going.
Yes.
It's like even with job hopping. Sometimes we job hop, you're running away from a terrible manager or a bully,
Yeah.
and you run away. You don't solve the problem.
Yes.
And we realized that the past 5 jobs, I was just running away from a bully. Try to understand that.
Yeah.
Then when you're in that situation, planning your future, you know that I'm not going to run away next time. I'm
Yeah.
not going to run
Yeah.
away from my bully. I'm going to talk to them. I'm going to tell them, you're going to stop it now.
Yes.
If it doesn't stop, we escalate it to
Yeah.
all the seniors. Bullying is wrong.
Yes.
So we
Yeah.
always have sometimes we are required just to visit the past a little bit,
Yes.
and so that we can understand the future and make
Yeah.
sense of it.
I was going to
Um,
ask you, because I know
mm,
you've got this channel. Can you just
mm,
elaborate a bit on that channel that you've got running at the
uh,
moment?
the name of the channel is Wounded to Mend,
Yes.
and the intention really, it's a 6-part series, and it will be coming to an end soon. I don't know what I'm going to do after, but the intention was to it's a storytelling platform
Yes.
with the intention to teach or to heal someone out there through the story,
Yes.
And so I run it in conjunction with my business, Namadi Shapurike, where I sell bath salts and different types of salts for relaxation and massage oils.
Yes.
And I'll tell you how I got to this. So I attended a retreat with Lebu Pule. It was a retreat on foundations and building foundations.
Yes.
And we were requested to just check our foundations. Where do we really come from? So you look at in your lineage of birth and the family, where do we come from? What do they do? And we found that the families, they are healers. So there's a reputation of either traditional healers and doctors and nurses. All of them, they just go through the same thing.
Yes.
So when I look at my one, I realize that actually the women in my family, they are always selling something.
Yes.
Whatever age it is, they are not limited to, they're just selling. My aunt is a pensioner. She has been on pension for over 10 years with
Yeah.
white hair. She walks slowly, but she's still selling. And I'm like,
Yes.
why? So we have it in us.
Yeah.
Those who are not selling, they're teachers.
Yeah.
And when I check my background, I realized that I actually started to teach my siblings from a very young age. After school, I'll say, come, let me teach you the vowels, A,
Yes.
E, I, O, U. you know After we figured out the foundations of what really makes
Yeah.
us, because all my life I was just trying to figure out what's my purpose, what am I here for, what do I
Yeah.
do. And then we drilled down to who we really are, how did we come to be where we are now, how did we come to be. And then that's when I knew that actually um teaching, it's me, entrepreneurship, it's in me. Like, it's not something I'm gonna run away from it. It's
Yes.
something that I was also doing from a young age. I mean, I started to sell when I was in primary school. I was doing, I don't know, standard 4. I don't know what it is now, grade
I
something.
think it's
But
grade
yeah,
6, I think. Yeah.
yeah, standard 4. I
Yeah.
remember I was selling birthday cards, handcraft birthday cards and
Okay.
Valentine's Day cards to the learners. So that again, that mantra still applies.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
actually going back, it helps us. So then I asked the thing, this thing of having to accept now your calling
Yeah.
or what you have to do. You have to
Yeah.
accept it. You cannot just know or let people, oh, Cheryl, you have a gift in talking. You're a good speaker. And then you don't accept it and just run with it.
Yeah.
There's a difference. You
Yes.
have to accept and acknowledge it.
Yes.
And then and then treat it with care that, you know what, we are going to work together.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the story in the Bible where God, was it a leader who gave them the talents, gave
Yes.
other one 10 talents and 2 talents. I don't remember the
And
story
the
very
one
well, but
talent. Yeah. Yeah.
in one talent, but the Google is there. But what I remember, the gist of the story was how people used their different talents.
Yes.
And if you have 10 and I have 2, if I can just acknowledge my 2 and appreciate it,
Yes.
we will go far. My 2
Correct.
talents and we are going to go very far. And
Yeah.
you acknowledge your 10 and respect that God has given me. Then to whom much is given, much is expected.
Yeah.
You acknowledge that, you are going to do very well. But if you reject and take things for granted, you end up living a meaningless
It's been
life.
really, really great chatting to you. I've thoroughly enjoyed my time with you. And,
Yes.
I wish you well with all your
Mm,
endeavors. And
thank
and
you
I
very
know
much.
that, I can see that you are somebody that is just going to go out there and make it happen. And I just really, really, really pray that all the people that you meet on your way will gain inspiration from you, because
Oh, thank
you
you.
exude it. And that is something that many people don't have, is the confidence
Oh,
in who
thank
you
you.
are, and
Mm,
the fact that you are willing to help,
mm,
which
mm,
goes a long way, So I really want to
mm,
thank you for your
mm,
time today.
Oh, thank you so much, Cheryl, for inviting me. It's so exciting. I have a new friend now, so
Yes.
thank you. Thank you very much. I'm excited.
Yes, no,
Thank you
I'm
so much.
too. Please feel free to contact me on my Instagram page, which is Celebrating Women of Substance, or on YouTube, which is also Celebrating Women of Substance. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to chat to you if you have your own story that you would like to share that would be an inspiration to other women that are in a similar boat to you. So please feel free to contact us. And we look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Thank you.